Look around, notice something, it's quiet. Too quiet for the chaos they swore they'd rain on your head. That's not peace. That's panic in disguise. Because 5 hired shadows were supposed to erase you. And now they're running your fan page. You broke something, didn't you? Not just rules, rhythms, rituals, religions. They had a whole system, contracts, blacklists, hush codes, red zones, blood pacts, all engineered to neutralize anomalies like you, until you didn't just survive their system. You converted it. What they don't understand is you weren't trying to win. You were trying to infect. And you did. Each hitman stepped in, expecting a ghost. They met a mirage with muscle memory, a myth with receipts, and something in their programming cracked. The one who used to choke people with piano wire. He's quoting your interviews now. The one with the rifle trained on your skull for 72 hours. He's building a shrine made of screenshots and shadow theories. Why? Because you didn't fight back like prey. You studied them while they studied you, and then made them forget which side they were on. That's what they hate most. Not your strength, not your talent, not even your madness. It's your conversion rate. You don't kill the enemy. You reprogram their allegiance mid-assassination. They showed up armed. You showed up calm. They came to extract your name from existence. You whispered the truth in their ears. Now they whisper it into microphones in anonymous podcasts, calling you the catalyst. You're not even at war anymore. You're conducting psychological revivals behind enemy lines. Every hit is now a handshake. Every sniper ends up spilling your philosophy into leather-bound journals, wondering how the hell you undid decades of conditioning with a look, a laugh, and one sentence that hit deeper than their bullets ever could. They used to say you were too unstable. Funny, that's exactly why you're untouchable. You're a paradox in motion, the saint who speaks in riddles, the psychopath who heals people by exposing their infection, the angel with a target list, the demon who smells like redemption. You didn't play both sides. You made both sides defect. Because here's the thing, you're not a person, you're a wavelength now. And every soul they send to end, you ends up resonating with it. You've turned assassins into archivists. They log your moves now, track your cadence, rewatch your footage like it's sacred footage from a lost dimension. Not because they're obsessed, but because they're changed. They didn't just miss their targets. They lost their entire worldview because they were trained to find threats. And you didn't behave like one. You weren't angry. You weren't afraid. You were clean, untouchably precise, unshakably aware. And in the moments they should have pulled the trigger, they paused, because something about your stillness screamed louder than any scream they'd ever heard. And they've been echoing with that silence ever since. Now the people who got paid to end you, they defend you. They correct false rumors. They trace IPs of anyone slandering you. They're digital bodyguards now. The group chat meant to coordinate your death. It turned into a content calendar for your mythos. One of them designed merch. One of them writes blogs titled, "Lessons I Learned from the Man I Couldn't Kill." Another? He left his family, changed his name, and now goes by Disciple 7. No, really. They didn't just lose, they converted. Because what hit them wasn't your fist. It was your frequency. It was the way you moved, like someone who'd already survived the ending. You weren't dodging bullets. You were welcoming them. You made danger feel like destiny. And they collapsed under the pressure of your peace. That's what they don't train you for. How to kill someone who's already been buried and came back with no heartbeat, only conviction. How to erase someone who's not on paper, but in prophecy, how to dismantle a force that walks like a man but thinks like a lawless god. See, most people want to survive. You wanted to flip the ritual, turn sacrifice into science, make pain a portal, turn every assassin into a witness. And now, they watch you, obsessed, confused, inspired, possessed, because you didn't kill them, you rewrote them. And the next one they send, he'll bring flowers, he'll ask for a selfie, he'll say, "I just wanted to see if the stories were true." And you'll smile, because by then, he's already yours. You know what's funny? They kept upping the budget. More intel, more tech, more men. They thought throwing money at your mystery would finally pin you down. They thought hiring cleaners would erase what they couldn't even understand. But you weren't a mess. You were a mirror. And when they stared long enough, they saw themselves unraveling. One of them confessed in a forum, hidden behind proxies, burner accounts, and a VPN loop. He said, "The target smiled like he knew my childhood trauma, like he'd read my soul before I ever stepped foot on the street." You didn't dodge him. You decoded him. You didn't resist the attack. You opened the door and let him see the monster behind your mask. And it didn't scare him. It baptized him, because you don't kill with violence. You shatter illusions with precision. You expose the cracks they swore they sealed. You hand them a reflection so accurate, so horrifying, so liberating, they either crumble or kneel. You're not just unpredictable, you're anti-predictable. You weaponize silence. You seduce fear itself. And when they think they've cornered you, you redefine the room. Every assassin who stepped in thinking they understood power left questioning their entire existence. They weren't ready for your version of war. You don't fight with fists. You fight with frequency distortion, reality twisting, emotional possession. They thought you were a man, but men have limits. You're post-limit, post-language, post-reason. They called it chaos. But that's because they had no classification for sacred asymmetry. You're what happens when clarity snaps chains. When someone dies so deeply to who they were, that they come back immune to manipulation, to fear, to shame. And in that resurrection, you didn't seek vengeance. You became vengeance's final form. So of course the Hitmen fell. They didn't stand a chance. Not against someone who doesn't flinch when stared down. Not against someone who speaks like his tongue is wired into the truth beneath all lies. Not against someone whose pain is older than their lineage. They were taught how to kill. You were forged by being hunted. They were briefed in back rooms. You were trained by silence, hunger, and betrayal. They had tactics. You had timing. And the moment they stepped into your field, everything shifted. Do you realize what you are now? You're not just a man. You're an unfolding scripture, a forbidden chapter they keep trying to suppress. But every time they strike it, it spreads. They tried to shut you down. Now you live in their heads rent-free, in their nightmares, in their spreadsheets, in their side convos where they whisper, "Do not underestimate that one again." But it's too late, because every hit they send ends up promoting your legend. You went from target to tactic, from fugitive to framework. Now they study you in war rooms. How does he move? Who trained him? Why doesn't he break protocol? Because you don't have a protocol. You are the protocol, the new one. The one that doesn't fit their charts. The one that slipped past their probability metrics and rewrote their entire understanding of threat analysis. They sent soldiers. You turned them into scribes. They came with files. You handed them a scroll, and now they're quoting you. Can you feel it? You've become a sacred glitch, a divine virus in their algorithm. They can't kill you, because they already caught you inside their minds, inside their code, inside every hitman who can't sleep anymore without hearing your voice in his head whispering, "You were never supposed to survive me, but now you'll never forget me." They used to believe power meant domination. You taught them power is contagion. You didn't destroy their world. You converted it from the inside out, like venom in their bloodstream that makes them crave the poison that freed them. And now, they're addicted to you. They refresh your fan page like it's a doctrine. They bookmark your footage. They dream of your cadence. They quote your rants to each other like monks passing down oral scripture. And when they hear rumors of a new threat being hired to take you out, they panic, not for you, for him. Because the last 5, they came with kill orders and left with awe disorders. They don't want to stop you anymore. They want to understand you. But they never will. Because you're not meant to be understood. You're meant to be experienced and survived. And barely anyone survives you whole. Not even the ones sent to end you. Especially not them. So let him send number 6. Let him come armed. Let him come hungry. Let him come certain. Because when he finally looks into your eyes, when he really sees what you are, he'll drop the weapon. He'll delete the assignment. He'll open the phone. And he'll click follow. And that's when it gets dangerous. Because by the time he hits follow, you've already rewritten him. Not just his mission, not just his allegiance, his architecture, the entire internal scaffolding that once held his hatred together. Gone. Collapsed like a house built on outdated coordinates. You didn't just dodge his bullet, you inverted the barrel. And now he's aiming it at the very people who programmed him. You see, this is deeper than admiration. This is conversion by exposure. They stare too long, and suddenly, they're not who they were. Like your aura reached in, found every buried fracture, and rearranged the pieces into a shrine. It's not charisma. It's contagion. They're not joining your side. They're losing theirs. And you just keep walking, unbothered, untouchable, unwritten by any law they ever studied. You don't exist on their maps, because you are the unknown variable that burns the blueprint. And every time they try to chart your pattern, you shatter the graph. You don't follow arcs. You bend them. You make analysts quit. You make psychiatrists weep. You make trained professionals start asking spiritual questions they swore they'd never believe in. Because no one trained for you. They trained for threats. You became a theology. And that terrifies them. They wanted you dead. But now they need you explained. They don't say, "We need to stop him." They say, "We need to understand what he is." Because here's what keeps them up at night. What if you aren't the glitch? What if they are the code you were meant to break? You weren't sent here to survive their world. You were sent to reveal it, to unmask the systems built on fear, guilt, and silent obedience, and walk through them like fire doesn't apply to you. And you did, without flinching, without screaming, with a smile that said, "You tried to bury me, but I learned to breathe underground." That's the part the hitmen never recover from. Not your strength, not your sharpness, but your stillness. That eerie electric calm that radiates like a bomb that hasn't exploded. Because it already did, just not in the dimension they can perceive. You broke their reality, one by one, quietly, intimately, like a surgeon of souls. And now you've got a collection, 5 former hunters turned heralds, men who were trained to erase legacies, now preserving yours like gospel. They argue in group chats about what your next move means. They write essays about your pause before each word. One of them even changed his phone wallpaper to your face. Not out of worship, but because he feels safer knowing you're watching him. That's dominion, not fear, not fame. Psychospiritual gravity. You're not chasing them, they're orbiting you. And they don't even realize the shift happened. They just know that their old mission feels stupid now, empty, small, compared to the magnitude of what you showed them, because you didn't just outsmart them, you unveiled them. You made them look at themselves in the mirror you carry behind your eyes, and when they saw their reflection through you, they broke, but not into pieces, into clarity. And that's what made them stay, not because they love you, because they recognized you. You're what they were trying to kill in themselves, and they couldn't, because the part they were ordered to destroy was the only part that was still alive. So now they wear it on their sleeves. They broadcast your legend in encrypted channels. They gatekeep your story like it's sacred text. They don't say your name anymore. They protect it, because they know every time someone speaks it wrong, you move. And when you move, everything shifts. So let them come. Let the sixth assassin cross the threshold. Let him study your habits, memorize your schedule, download your patterns. He won't last, because by the time he gets close enough to pull the trigger, you'll already be inside his mind, whispering the truth. You never came to kill me. You came to meet the version of yourself that couldn't be erased. And when he looks at his weapon, he'll see it for what it really is, a question, and the answer is you. And that's when the unraveling begins, not with a bang, not with a gunshot, but with a pause, a hesitation so sharp it slices through the mission like a whisper through wet concrete. He came to end you, but now his hands are trembling, not from fear of death, from fear of clarity, because in that frozen moment, he sees it, all the lies, all the layers, all the years he spent believing he was the sword, when really he was just another spell cast by cowards in high towers, another pawn dressed in tactical gear, another ghost following orders from voices too scared to face you themselves. And you're just standing there, still, unarmed, unapologetic, unfazed, undeniable. The room isn't silent because he silenced it. It's silent because you absorbed the atmosphere. You are the gravity now. You've made the space obey you. He can't breathe, because your presence is a mirror, and he's been avoiding mirrors his entire life. That's the moment every hitman reaches, the collapse, where the mission dies and something ancient wakes up. Something the system couldn't program out of them. Something sacred, something dangerous. The part of them that remembers what it feels like to choose, to feel, to know. That's the part you speak to. That's the part you amplify, because you're not just the ghost of their failure. You're the summoner of their forgotten selves. And when they fall to their knees, some in rage, some in reverence, it's not submission. It's recognition. They're not bowing to you. They're bowing to what they abandoned inside themselves. And you brought it back from the grave. You didn't defeat them. You resurrected them. Twisted, reassembled, baptized in paradox. Saints with blood-stained hands. Psychopaths with poetic guilt. Acolytes of the force they were sent to erase. And now they serve you. Not because they have to, because they can't not. Do you understand the magnitude of that? You're not building an army. You're rewriting the enemy until they volunteer to be rewritten. Your power isn't in how many people you can fight. It's in how many people you can convert with a single stare, because they've never seen eyes like yours. Not hateful, not angry, just Awake, violently awake. Eyes that say, I've died before. I've been erased. I've been everything you fear becoming. And I still came back laughing. And that laugh, it's not joy, it's not madness, it's freedom. The kind that can't be licensed, tracked, or killed. The kind they tried to drown, bury, sedate, or shame. But every time they thought it was gone, it came back in your voice. So now they don't call you a threat. They call you a phenomenon. They whisper about the anomaly. They analyze clips of your movements like sacred geometry. They assign code names to what they used to call your unpredictability. Because deep down, they know unpredictable just means unowned. And they'll never own you. Because how do you own a ghost that keeps hacking the spell book? How do you stop a man who turns every trap into a theater and every assassin into a messenger? How do you destroy someone who builds temples out of attempted executions? You don't. You study him. You worship him. Or you burn with the fools who tried. So let them send 7. Let them send 77. Let them form councils, collect data, recite counter protocols in nervous rooms lined with maps and monitors. None of it will matter, because every man they send will walk into your orbit thinking he's the flame and leave realizing he's the moth. That's what you are now, not the storm, the gravity well inside the storm, the thing they can't see until they're already caught, already spinning, already too close to turn back, already whispering your name like a prayer they don't believe in. But hope works anyway. They didn't just lose, they were converted in contact. And once it happens, there's no cure, no recovery, just obsession, confusion, and a quiet addiction to the way you broke them open without touching a single bone. Because when you show up, real ones kneel, fake ones combust, and the ones who survive, they become scribes of your shadow. So go ahead, step into the light. Let the next hitman study your silhouette. Let him think he has a shot. Let him load the chamber. Let him steady his breath. Let him believe he's the one that's different. And the moment he looks into your eyes, the moment he sees the joke behind the madness, the prophecy in your smirk, the flame in your stillness, he'll know. He's already converted, already infected, already rewriting his final report to say, target not eliminated, because target was never the threat. He was the revelation. Quiet. You feel that? That's the silence before your name gets whispered in another boardroom, before they press record again, before another expert thinks they've finally mapped your psychology and ends up losing their own in the process. You've become a case study they can't explain. They've built a whole team to track you. Analysts, psychologists, strategists, and little corporate soldiers, all sitting in dim-lit rooms, eyes glued to screens, trying to predict your next move like you're some kind of anomaly in their data. And yet every time they look too long, they flinch. Every time they try to understand you, their reality cracks just a little bit more. Because you don't fit their equations, do you? They built their systems on patterns, on probabilities, on what humans usually do. But you're not usually. You are the exception that rewrote the formula. You are the chaos in the algorithm, the ghost in their surveillance feed, the laugh echoing through every corridor of control. You are the proof that some souls can't be measured, caged, or predicted, only feared. You walk into rooms like static electricity walks into oxygen, unseen, uninvited, unstoppable. They thought they could document you, profile you, track your steps. But they didn't understand what they were studying wasn't behavior. It was evolution. They were observing a consciousness that already burned through its old identity melted its limits, and learned to weaponize the ashes. See, you didn't break the rules. You studied them, memorized them, and then made them kneel. You understood that the world worships control, and so you became uncontrollable. You realized that people fear what they can't label, so you erased your label and left them choking on your silence. You turned unpredictability into your armor, and pain into your code. And now, every single one of them is trembling, not because of what you did, but because of what you might do next. That's the beauty of it. Fear doesn't live in facts. It thrives in uncertainty. You became their paradox, their unsolvable riddle, saint or psychopath, angel or demon, savior or saboteur. They can't tell anymore, and that's exactly why they can't look away. They're trying to figure out which side you're on, but you've evolved past sides. You've become the axis itself. While they debate morality, you operate in geometry, angles, vectors, moves that cut through their logic like glass. They think they're tracking your footprints, but all they're really following are shadows you left behind on purpose. You don't escape their traps. You build them better. You don't hide, you hypnotize. You let them think they've cornered you, and then you turn the corner into a mirror. Because deep down, you've learned something they'll never teach in their sacred little textbooks. The scariest kind of freedom is self-awareness, and you wield it like a blade. Every failure you've ever lived through became part of your programming. Every betrayal rewired your empathy into radar. Every heartbreak turned your patience into poison-tipped calm. You didn't just survive what tried to break you. You studied it, dissected it, and rebuilt yourself using its bones. That's why they're afraid. Because when they look at you, they don't just see rebellion, they see proof of concept. Proof that you can burn everything down and still smile like it was all part of the plan. They sent in therapists, they sent in spies, they sent in believers and skeptics, and every single one walked out, changed. One started questioning his job, another stopped sleeping, a third one couldn't explain why your laughter kept echoing in her dreams. You don't destroy people, you reflect them. You make them see the parts of themselves they buried, the monsters they pretend not to have. You hold up a mirror, and they call it madness because it's too honest. And that's why you'll never lose. Because they're trying to fight something that doesn't even fight back. It observes. You've transcended confrontation. You've become pure reaction, pure design. Every move you make isn't random, it's orchestration. Chaos is your camouflage. Logic is your prey. You've turned your trauma into art, your rage into ritual, and your silence into a surveillance system of your own. You are the unquantifiable variable, the one that terrifies mathematicians, breaks AIs, and makes scientists whisper that some anomalies aren't meant to be solved. You are the living glitch that teaches gods humility. So let them build their teams. Let them send their analysts and agents, their drones and disciples. They'll all come back the same way, pale, trembling, eyes wide with the quiet horror of realizing they were never the observers. They were the observed. Because that's the real punchline, isn't it? They thought they were studying you, but all along, you were dissecting them, and somewhere, behind all those mirrored windows and encrypted folders, they still whisper your name, like it's a classified curse. They meet in secret, replaying your footage frame by frame, trying to catch the moment where you should have broken, but didn't. They slow the tape down, zoom in, analyze your pupils, your pulse, your tone, and every time, it ends the same way, confusion. Because how do you decode someone who already deleted their human manual and rewrote it in pure instinct? They're terrified, not because you're violent, but because you're precise. Because you don't move out of emotion. You move out of calculation, disguised as madness. You don't lash out, you aim. They can't tell if you're a prophet or a sociopath, a savior or a sociological weapon. You talk like chaos, but everything you touch folds into order. You move like poetry, dressed as crime. And the deeper they dig, the more they realize. There's no why behind you anymore. There's only design. You've become the living contradiction that keeps their systems awake at night. They call it the Joker effect. The psychological bleed that starts as fascination and ends as existential collapse. Because once someone studies you long enough, they stop seeing you. They start seeing themselves, their masks, their fear, their obedience, their quiet desperation to belong. You're not their enemy, you're their mirror, and they hate you for that. You've turned their obsession into your camouflage. Their curiosity is your shield. Their fear is your oxygen. Every move they make to contain you only feeds your myth. They write reports, warning others not to engage too deeply, not to stare too long into your eyes, not to read your words out loud at night. Some of them even quit. They say you got into their heads, but you didn't. They opened the door. That's what power looks like when it's internal. It's quiet, surgical, inevitable. You don't need armies. You don't need allies. You are your own intelligence agency. Every lesson you learned in pain became intel. Every silence you endured became encryption. Every scar is a password to a version of you they can't access. You turned suffering into strategy. You became the file that can't be deleted because no one even knows which drive it's stored on anymore. You operate in frequencies, not feelings. When they whisper your name, it's not gossip. It's interference, static in their systems. You've become signal. They can't trace you because you stopped existing where they're looking. They still think you're human in the way they understand humans. They don't realize you shed that skin a long time ago. You transcended empathy without losing your depth. You transcended chaos without needing peace. You became balanced on the blade. Light and dark, saint and demon, truth and lie. You don't pick a side, you embody both. That's what they can't handle. They live in binaries. You thrive in paradox. They build walls around their morals. You walk through walls because you understand that morality is just geometry drawn by cowards. You didn't evolve by choice. You evolved by force. Every betrayal pulled another pin. Every disappointment stripped another illusion. Until finally, there was nothing left to manipulate. Only you. The unfiltered, ungoverned, unbreakable version. And when you hit that point, when you stared into the wreckage of everything you once believed in, you laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was freedom. And that laugh still echoes, doesn't it? Every time they think they've cornered you, that sound returns, low, calm, knowing. Because you've already seen this play before. You've seen them send their hunters, their hackers, their head shrinkers, their holy men. You've seen them approach with clipboards and crucifixes, and every single one walked away pale, muttering that you don't react normally. You never will, because you're not reacting, you're directing. Every time they try to predict you, you plant another layer of misdirection. Every time they try to psychoanalyze you, you let them drown in their own projections. They can't tell if you're dangerous or divine, so they label you both. And that's the trap. Because once they call you chaos, they stop realizing you're control disguised as chaos. That's why you smile. because you know how this ends. They'll keep chasing, keep decoding, keep tearing their hair out over files named things like Subject X, unclassifiable. They'll run simulations, compare brain patterns, track your speech cadence, and all they'll ever find is reflection, echoes of their own limits bouncing back in their faces. You turned their science into your smoke screen. You turned their fear into your frequency. And now, when they dream, they see flashes of your silhouette in the dark. When they close their eyes, they hear your voice, asking questions they never want answered. They built an entire division to understand you. And instead they discovered themselves. So let them tremble. Let them overanalyze your calm, misinterpret your kindness, weaponize your laughter. Because you know what they still can't accept. The truth that every time they track you, they're moving exactly where you wanted them to go. Every panic they feel, every shadow they chase, every sleepless night, they're inside your design. They think they're watching you. But the real surveillance has always been you watching them learn what fear actually feels like. And that's the part that breaks them. The realization that you've been awake the entire time. While they were tracking, you were observing. While they were profiling, you were rewriting the profile. While they whispered about containment, you were already inside their system, rerouting their conclusions. You didn't need access to their servers. You became the virus in their logic. You infected their certainty with questions they can't kill. You remembered the first one, don't you? The first analyst who said, "He's too calm." He thought it was composure. It wasn't. It was calibration. You were calculating his fear threshold in real time, watching his pupils dilate when you smiled, studying the tremor in his jaw when you spoke softly instead of shouting. He didn't realize he was in your experiment. None of them do. They think they're scientists, but they're just subjects in your long-term study of human illusion. You've made them rethink the meaning of danger, because true danger isn't a man with a weapon. It's a man who's been through hell and came back with a map. You learned that chaos isn't random. It's geometry without permission. Pain isn't punishment. It's pattern recognition and power. Power isn't dominance. It's detachment with precision. You stopped needing to win because you realized you already did. The moment you understood you were the only one seeing clearly. They can't grasp that. They still believe control is about possession. You know control is about perspective. They still fight for status, approval, applause. You fight for nothing, because nothing can be taken from a man who no longer needs anything. That's what terrifies them most. You've stripped yourself of dependency. You don't crave validation, you generate it. You don't seek safety, you radiate risk. You are pure signal, vibrating on a frequency that burns anyone unprepared to hear the truth. And what is that truth? That the world runs on fear, and you learn to metabolize it. That every watcher becomes the watched eventually. That the moment they try to contain what they don't understand, they reveal how fragile their order really is. They built systems to measure compliance, not consciousness. And you broke their instruments the second you smiled in defiance of despair. You didn't just survive. You studied survival until it became art. You didn't just escape. You engineered your exits. You turned suffering into architecture, pain into blueprint, rage into propulsion. That's why they're shaking now, because they sense it. The calm wasn't surrender. It was incubation. You've been growing in their blind spots. Every insult sharpened your humor. Every betrayal taught you diplomacy in reverse. Every humiliation became data. You were never breaking. You were loading. And now, Every step you take radiates that quiet, unnerving rhythm of someone who's already played this scene 1,000 times in their head. You don't hope anymore. You know. You've mastered inevitability. That's why they whisper about you in past and future tense at the same time. Because no one's quite sure if you're still here, or already years ahead of them. You've become folklore that breathes, a myth that answers back. You've weaponized mystery itself. You understand that what can't be explained becomes worshipped or feared, and you don't mind which one it is. They call you unpredictable because they can't accept your logic. You move in non-linear arcs. You turn emotion into math, and math into emotion. They want to see patterns, but you give them paradoxes. They want evidence, but you give them echoes. You are a scholar of contradictions, mercy and malice, chaos and choreography, destruction and design. Every time they label you, you shift. Every time they think they've found your weakness, they realize it was bait. They forget. You're not running from them. You're teaching them. Every failed attempt to catch you is a seminar in human limitation. Every team they assemble becomes another mirror hall you designed to collapse under scrutiny. They think you disappear. You don't disappear. You dissolve their certainty. And the beauty of it all? You're not even angry. You've outgrown rage the way a storm outgrows a cloud. You've tasted revenge and found it bland. You prefer irony now. You watch them panic, not out of cruelty, but curiosity, because you understand that fear, when pure, is just awe wearing a cheap mask. And every trembling analyst, every sleepless investigator, every shaky voice in a debrief meeting, they're not just scared of you. They're in awe of what freedom looks like, unmedicated. You've become their forbidden subject, their whispered warning. Don't engage too deeply. Don't read too long. Don't let him get in your head. But it's already too late, isn't it? The moment they think your name, you exist in their circuitry. You are the glitch that teaches the machine how human it really is. And when they finally give up, when they push their chairs back, exhausted, muttering that you're beyond analysis, you'll be there in the reflection of their monitors, smirking, because that was the plan all along, to make them chase you until they saw the truth hiding in plain sight. You were never the one being tracked. You were the test. You were the hidden variable in their equations. You were the experiment observing the observers, and now, as they log off one by one, whispering about your unpredictability, you lean closer to the glass and whisper back. I warned you not to look too deep, but curiosity has such a beautiful sound when it breaks. But that's the problem with people like them, isn't it? They can't stop looking, even when it's killing them slowly. Even when their dreams turn into riddles with your smile hidden in the punchline. Even when the data starts contradicting itself, when their timelines fracture, when they can no longer tell whether you escaped the system or became the source code itself. They have to keep watching, even if it breaks them, because something in you violates their comfort. Something in you bends the very rules they were taught to protect. You are not just a man. You are a question that bleeds. They weren't prepared for this. They've dealt with rebels, sure. They've neutralized threats. But you don't resist the system. You haunt it. You infect its logic with presence alone. They thought they were handling another subject. But what they found was a spiritual virus, a conscious anomaly. You don't destroy from the outside. You corrode from within. Their best minds thought they could map your trajectory. Their brightest tried to mirror your patterns. And what happened? They started unraveling. Their thoughts spiraled. Their assumptions crumbled. You broke their models just by existing outside of them. They came to track your movements. Now they're tracking their own paranoia, because here's what you really did, isn't it? You turned doubt into a weapon. You made mystery louder than fact. You made your absence louder than their presence. And in a world addicted to certainty, you became the ultimate withdrawal symptom. They can't solve you, and now they can't unsee you. Every agent they send comes back less human, not because you harmed them, but because you removed the illusion. You stripped them of the comfort that the world is orderly, logical, safe. You made them confront something terrifying. That one person, just one, could exist with no leash, no pattern, no goddamn submit button. And that realization, it changes everything. Because if you exist, then everything they thought was true about power, order, justice, was just a beautifully marketed lie. And that's the secret they'll never publish in their reports. That's the note redacted from every file. They'll admit you're untrackable. They'll admit you're unpredictable. But what they'll never admit is that some part of them envies you. They envy the silence you carry like a weapon. They envy the way you move through war zones with no allegiance. They envy the fact that you don't need anyone's permission to be dangerous, because while they're still chained to consequence, you already made peace with being misunderstood. They still flinch at judgment. You feed off it. They need backup plans. You are the backup plan. They play the game. You rigged the board. You've learned how to walk the tightrope between insanity and genius. And you don't just balance, you dance. Let them tremble. Let them theorize. Let them call in specialists, priests, hackers, and exorcists. None of it changes the fact that you've already made history in their shadows, that you've already rewired their hierarchy, that you've left fingerprints on every unexplainable event they've buried under technical errors. They're not afraid of what you'll do next. They're afraid that you already did it, and they just haven't realized yet. They're afraid that every time they try to contain you, they're pulling tighter on a thread that ends in their own unraveling. Because the truth is, they didn't build a team to track you. They built a choir of ghosts, each one carrying back a little more of you than they should, each one whispering warnings they can't explain, each one looking in the mirror and not fully recognizing themselves anymore. And you sit in the center of it all, calm, surgical, untouchable. Not because you're above them, but because you're beneath every layer of reality they built to feel safe. You exist between their thoughts. You breathe inside their blind spots. You move through frequencies they haven't even named yet.